Hello everyone, and welcome to this month's Minty Minutes, and I will be honest with you, I'm a little spicy this month because the movie industry is being spicy right now, and there's been a lot of takes going around the internet, and I just kind of want to talk this month. But you know, this is kind of what Minty Minutes is normally. But also, it has been a good month for movies in general, of just movies coming out that have been good, that I think were good. Also watched a lot of them this month as well, which is pretty cool. I say a lot. It was like, I don't know, 10 or so. Maybe less than that. Probably less than that. But whatever. I actually went to the movie theater a couple times. 3 times, in fact. Actually went to the movie theater 3 times this month. Pretty nice. Yay. Real Limited. But beyond all that, so this month we're talking about 2 movies in particular. 3. We'll talk about 3 movies in particular. And then just the state of the movie industry, the state of the theater industry, something that I care very deeply about, and I'll go into in that topic at the end. And I'll probably do like a little thing at the end as well, just to lighten everything up. But either way, let's just get into it and let's talk about it. So this month, like I said, I watched a few movies this month, which is pretty cool. But the main 2 that I watched that I want to talk about, I guess main 3 I watched that I want to talk about, are Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so the new Apes movie. The Fall Guy, and Furiosa. 2 of the 3 have been talked about quite a lot because of various reasons. So I'm just going to go kind of in order of the way I watch them. So we're going to start off with The Fall Guy, which came out at the beginning of the month, or beginning of last month I should say. And it's really good. It's just a really, really good movie. I didn't really have high expectations for it or anything. I just looked like a fun movie when I watched the trailers for it. I will admit the trailers for the movie were not necessarily the best, quote unquote. They didn't really convey exactly what the movie was about. It more showed it as more of an action movie than what it actually is, which is a rom-com that has a lot of action in it, which is different, you know? I guess it's kind of different. But beyond that, it is a reboot, remake, reimagining, whatever you want to call it, with the re in front of it, of a show from the 80s, or 70s and 80s called The Fall Guy, with the same general premise, where basically you have a stuntman who does, like, bounty hunter work. The actual movie itself completely different than that premise, but it is about a stuntman doing stuff. So yeah, the original premise was like a stuntman doing bounty hunter work because the skills that he has as a stuntman translate to being a good bounty hunter, basically. And it's such a unique idea that I honestly had never heard about. Like, going into this movie, I didn't even know The Fall Guy, the original series, existed. And there's a reason for that as well. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But the movie itself stars Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and they are phenomenal in this movie. And they have such great chemistry. And there's, like, some really genuinely great, like, cute moments between the 2 of them and their whole love story. Ryan Gosling just keeps surprising me, and he really shouldn't be surprising me this much, that like as much as he is, but he's really just keeps surprising me. Like, every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, damn, Ryan Gosling's great. I forgot Ryan Gosling's great. The same thing happened in Barbie. When I watched Barbie, I was like, wow, Ryan Gosling is great. This movie's the same thing, because he's leading the whole thing, and I'm like, wow, this is like his role. This is like right up his alley. Like, Ryan Gosling should just be playing more of these comedy action characters, or just doing more comedy stuff, because that man's really funny. It's like Chris Hemsworth as well, which I'll get into Hemsworth for Furiosa. But it's like Chris Hemsworth. It's like, yeah, he was cast as Thor, so he just keeps getting cast as these action roles, but you give him a comedy role, he's going to kill it, because the dude's just naturally funny. So that's a cool thing about that. But yeah, so the movie itself is... It's something that I really love personally about certain movies. It's a movie about movies. And I just really love movies about movies, or TV shows about TV shows, or, you know, a fictional thing about the actual production of a thing, if that makes any sense. Because I like seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff of it. Not necessarily in like a documentary standpoint, but I like just seeing the work that goes into it. To give credit and to give just shine a light on the people that actually make the things that we love, just in general. So The Fall Guy does that. It is a movie about movies, and more specifically, David Leitch, the director of it, did the movie as a way to shine a light and to give a lot of love and support to stunt actors, to the stunt performers that work on movies that never get any recognition. because that's their whole point. Like, a stunt performer, if they're doing their job correctly, you don't know they're there. And that's the whole point. But David Leitch also used to be a stuntman, so that's the whole point. So he wanted to do this movie to shine a light and to give a lot of credit and to show some love for all the stunt performers, and they do. Like the stunts in this movie are great. Like, a lot of the things that they do in this movie are practical effects, which are great, which require stunt performers, and they're phenomenal to see. They're phenomenal to look at. It's such a beautiful movie to see that just like grabs you and just keeps you going. The soundtrack is also phenomenal and very eclectic, but it's like perfectly eclectic for me. With one of the main songs is I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss, and that was like the main through line song through the movie that kind of is like the central theme of the movie between Gosling's character and Emily Blunt's character. And they even do like an orchestral version at the end of the movie as well, and it's like, this is great. Everything about it was just so fun and so lighthearted, and it made like for a perfect summer movie. And the issue with it is, according to Universal, it didn't make enough money, which is going to be the through line for basically all these movies this month. So, according to Universal, it did not make enough money at all to warrant it even staying in theaters. Because back during the pandemic, Universal made a deal with theater chains where if a movie does not open to a $50 million or more opening, which is just an arbitrary number for the most part, then after 16 days, it can just go immediately to video on demand. So you can just buy it, rent it, whatever, on like any of your video on demand services. This is god-awful and stupid, personally. It made sense for the pandemic when there weren't any movies being out, and to be honest, like, the theaters weren't even open, so it had it for a way to go see movies, like to actually like watch movies. And I understand as well. I completely, fully understand as well. Going to the movies is expensive. I get it. It is wildly expensive and way too expensive. I 100% agree with that. So, the fact that the movie didn't make enough money in its opening weekend, the fact that it didn't make enough money in its opening weekend is stupid. But the fact that it didn't do as well also makes sense given the price of the movies in general. But the fact that Universal had this contract now where it's like, hey, if you don't make X amount of money in your like first 4 days out, you just don't exist. Like, this movie just doesn't matter anymore. And that's wrong. That just feels wrong. Like, on every level, that just feels wrong. So the movie is actually just available now, just to watch at home. And I highly recommend watching it. It's a phenomenal movie, and I want more people to watch this movie because it is just fun. It's just such a fun movie. And I say that about a lot of movies I talk about, but it's kind of the whole point. I like to hype up movies that I like, basically. So I don't know if that's a weird thing for the internet, the hate-filled internet, but I just like certain things a lot. And like, I also understand as well that most people's home setups for watching TV and movies are pretty much standard enough good to watch a theater level movie. Like, most people have a larger screen TV. Most people have some type of stereo system in their house. And that's fine. And those work enough for a movie. But you're just kind of also lacking a little bit of the experience for the movie. But also, I fully know that the movie experience is also tainted for a lot of people because of the other people in there. Like, I get it. It's more expensive to go to the movies than ever before. You are going to have to deal with people being on their phones all the time if they don't want to actually be there. Somebody bringing their, like, crying baby into the theater for some reason. All that stuff. Like, I understand. I did work in a movie theater for 3 years. I do fully understand. It's just also frustrating because I love this industry so much, and I'm going to get into it more with the rest of them. So, The Fall Guy, phenomenal movie. I really, really highly recommend watching it. If it's still in a theater near you somewhere, try to go on like a Discount Tuesday or whatever, because I know like every movie theater does like Discount Tuesdays. Try to go see it in the theater on Discount Tuesday. If you can't go to the theater, yes, definitely just buy it, rent it, whatever you need to do to watch it at home, because it is a movie that deserves to be seen, as with all the other movies I'm going to talk about today. It's a movie that deserves to be seen and deserves to be recognized, because, like, box office wise, domestically, it's made $77 million, which, yes, that's after like 3 weeks of it being out, 3-4 weeks being out. It's like $77 million, and Overall, including internationals, made 148 million, almost 150 million, basically, worldwide. And that's, you know, not necessarily the best, quote unquote, but at the same time, because I mean, I'm pretty sure the budget of the movie is like 100 million or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but it's made like 150 million so far. It's definitely gonna pass 150 million. It might get close to like 175, maybe. It's probably going to pass like 200 million after, you know, home box office sales, or like home sales. But either way, so I want to be talking a lot about budget this month as well in terms of these movies, or box office. I'm going to be talking a lot about that because it's something I really do care about. But yeah, it made 77 million so far, and it had an opening weekend of 27 million, which 27 million for its opening weekend is a lot lower than anyone was ever expecting it to do. I think they were expecting to do like 35, if I remember correctly. So opening at 27, not good. Granted, the marketing, not the best for the movie, as I explained earlier. But then once people got seeing it, they're like, oh, this is really good. So it had only 51% drop the following weekend, which is staggeringly good for movies. Like, only dropping half is like staggeringly good. And it's just stayed pretty steady from there in its fourth week. I mean, it's dropped in rankings, obviously, but that's kind of what it does for every movie. So it's doing fine. And it's one of those movies that I'll mention later for another movie that just kind of can stick around for a bit. And the unfortunate thing is, it probably isn't going to. Like, there was a time in the theaters, like, hell, 2015, this is go 2015, where, like, you could have a movie come out, have, like, a mediocre opening weekend or whatever, it'd be okay, and then just stay in the theaters for, like, 6 months, just because there was nothing really else out, and it just kept making money. Like, studios just left movies out there. And studios don't do that now for some reason. Like, I mean, just look at The Greatest Showman. I don't have the numbers up for Greatest Showman. I could bring them up, but I don't have them up right now. But Greatest Showman lasted in the theaters for like 6 months for no real reason other than it just did. But anyway, Fall Guys on streaming now, not on streaming fully, but on video on demand now, so go watch it for sure. If it is still in the theater, watch it in the theater, but I got more movies to talk about here, then I'm going to keep bringing up this stuff, and more movies. So, the next thing I want to talk about, next movie I want to talk about with all this stuff going on, is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Is the next one I watched this month. Also, both the movies I saw with my dad in theaters, because I love going to the movies with my dad, and he basically is the one who got me into movies. And he had been really excited to see this movie, because he loved the Apes movies, especially the latest Apes movies. He loves them so much. So this one is good. It's good. It's a good Apes movie. It is a continuation of the original trilogy with Caesar, not the original trilogy, but the Caesar trilogy that is basically the reboot of the Planet of the Apes movies. So this is a continuation of that. It's set supposedly like 300 years or whatever, like many generations after Caesar, where like the world has been fully taken over by the apes at this point. Nature's fully taken over. The apes have kind of like evolved enough to like, you know, fully talk and have like civilizations like that. They're not like at original Planet of the Apes level of like, hey, they're just people now at this point. They're not there yet, but you know, they've basically taken over. And the disease from the original reboot movie, I think it was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. One of them, I forgot the actual names of all these movies because they're all the same. Has basically like made most humans like not feral, but mainly like animals for the most part. But then there's like sections of the world that still have like fully functioning humans. But either way, this movie is good. This movie is really good. I thought there was some parts of it where I'm like, okay, this could have been like a little bit better. Like even like a little bit more with this, like the certain characters. The villain, Proximus Caesar, was great, and I wish they used him more. Like I wish we just got more of him. But basically everything in the movie is good. It's a good Apes movie. It really sets up for a new trilogy if they do it, which, based on the box office, probably doing it. It's just kind of low-key, like, under the radar, just making money. That's the cool thing about the Apes movies in general, compared to all the other franchises out there, is, like, the Apes movies just make enough money, because the fan base of the Apes movies just are quiet. They just go out, watch the movie, enjoy the movie, maybe say a few things like, hey, this movie's good, and then just leave, kind of a thing. It's like the movie so far domestically has made 133 million. If you round up to be 134, but 133 million. Internationally has made 170, so it's made 304 million out of nowhere. No one's talking about this movie. Like, no one. Everyone's talking about Fall Guy and Furiosa and other movies like that. This movie is just kind of there. It's just kind of there. It's only been out for 3 weeks. It had a 56% drop from week 1 to week 2, and then a 47% drop from week 2 to week 3. Like, the movies, like, Planet of the Apes is the exact movie right now, the exact movie that I was just talking about with Fall Guy, where it's just a movie that is just steady. It is just a steady movie that is just making money that people are just going out to see. And that's good. There should be movies like that. There should be more movies like that. And this is, if I remember correctly, what is this? A Warner Brothers movie? Or, I think it's Warner Brothers. No, Fox. It's 20th Century Fox. So this is a Fox movie. And it means Fox, Disney, you know, whatever, are kind of known for just keeping their movies out for a while. Fox specifically. If I remember correctly, I think Greatest Showman was Fox as well. But Fox, 20th Century Studios, I know they're not Fox anymore, I'm going to keep calling them that. But 20th Century Fox are just kind of good about doing that. They just put a movie out, they give it enough marketing, and then just kind of leave it there. They just let it sit there. Mainly now because of the fact that Disney owns them, and Disney tries to, like, not do much with that studio at all, other than just be like, hey, here's the movie, whatever. And they just kind of don't care about it. And that's kind of, unfortunately, just a good problem in certain movies, where it's like, if a studio doesn't really care enough about your movie, then they're just gonna just let it sit there and just make money. It's one of those weird, stupid things, but whatever. Anyway, Planet of the Apes is good. It's made a pretty decent amount of money so far. I don't know the budgets of all these movies. Don't have that looked up right now, but I think it's made its budget back at this point. It might be close to it if not, but it's just doing good. It's a good movie that deserves, again, to be seen in theaters. It actually is still in theaters. It is not on video on demand yet. I think it's going to be there. I think it's going to be on video on demand maybe like next month sometime, because most movies have like a 45-day window at this point, which I feel like 45-day window is at least okay. It used to be a 90-day window. I think 45 is fine for the most part. It still gives a movie enough time in theaters to actually, you know, do something. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is good. I thought it was a really fun, a more emotional, fun type of movie. It's an Apes movie for sure, but it still feels like an Apes movie compared to the other three in this, like, new trilogy, and it's good, and it sets up some stuff for the future ones. I think it's just fun. It's a good time. It's definitely a good, like, dad movie for sure. As I said, because I went and saw it with my dad. It's a good dad movie. You know, just have a movie out there that's like you can just go watch with your dad. And it's just one of those types of movies. Like there are like also like mom movies as well. They're like, this is a good movie to watch for your mom. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was a good dad movie. Just like, you know, go have a day out with your dad, you know, go get some lunch or whatever, go watch this movie, and then, like, you know, go home and, like, play some baseball or whatever, you know. One of those types of movies. But it's good. It's a good time. Highly recommend watching it. If you want to wait for streaming or whatever, I mean, do it. I'm not going to say don't wait for streaming of movies if you can't go for it movies. Like, I'm not doing that. 100% not doing that. But, like, it's just one of those things where just the industry in general is annoying right now with certain things. And that brings me to the third movie that I want to talk about, which is the one that has gotten all the talk lately because of what is happening with it and everything around it, which is just the stupidest things going on with the movie industry and why it's making me aggravated and why I'm so spicy and have been for the past week or so about the movie industry and studios in general and how people are reporting on things. So Furiosa came out, the new Mad Max movie, Furiosa, a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, which came out in 2015, which, yes, that is a long-ass time to wait for a sequel, prequel, whatever you want to call it, in a franchise. That is a long-ass time. But beyond all that, Furiosa, starring Anya Taylor-Joy, love Anya Taylor-Joy, she's amazing, and Chris Hemsworth, also love Chris Hemsworth, he's amazing, in a prequel to Fury Road, about Furiosa, clearly, and about, like, how she got to the events of Fury Road. And this movie is great. This movie is absolutely baller. It is awesome. It is a pure, full octane action adventure, you know, George Miller Mad Max movie. And you should know what you're going to get into with that, because George Miller has done these movies since the very beginning. This is his baby. Like the Mad Max franchise is literally his baby. He literally is the one who created it and has been the only one doing anything with it. Minus, like, the video game from 2015, The Tie into Fury Road, which I've heard is also pretty decent. He just doesn't like it. But beyond all that, it's a Mad Max movie. It's a full-out Mad Max movie that just doesn't have Mad Max in it. And it's great. It's great. We get to see the wasteland, It's amazing. We get to have a bunch of that weird-ass suspension of disbelief diesel punk going on, with just everyone just riding motorcycles and having like weird chop shop cars. It's great. Everyone's just a BDSM wastelander apocalyptic person, which is just hilarious. But it's awesome. It is so awesome and fun. And it's like a 2.5 hour long movie that does not feel like it at all. Like, one of my friends who hasn't even seen any Mad Max movie went and saw the movie because of Anya Taylor-Joy and was like, yeah, I didn't realize it was 2.5 hours because it just flew by. It does. It just flies by. It's a great time. But the thing about the movie is been getting a lot of talk recently. Like, a lot of talk after it's only been out for a week, okay? Like, this is the second weekend. It's only been out for a week. But it's been getting a lot of talk. Just a lot of talk, sadly. Because of the fact that it opened under expectations. It opened under expectations. I think it opened with like 26 million, I think is what it supposedly did. Yeah, it opened 26 million its opening weekend, which is under the expectations that they had for it, which was like 30 to 35. Okay, whatever. It also opened against Garfield, which also opened under expectations, but people are praising that one for some reason. And then If, the Ryan Reynolds Imaginary Friend movie that literally just fosters home for imaginary friends. Like, I realized that the other day when I was like looking at movies or whatever. Like, the movie If is just fosters home for imaginary friends. It's literally the exact same. Like, they just stole that concept. But I'm not getting into that because I haven't seen that movie. But beyond all that, so the movie made 28 million opening weekend. 26 million opening weekend, which is under expectations. And people are calling the movie a complete failure. Complete failure, complete flop. There are articles coming out that, like, the next Mad Max movie, The Wasteland, is being postponed because this movie didn't do well. Even though The Wasteland isn't in production and never started production and wasn't writing on this movie at all either. But people are like saying it is. People came up with the numbers and everything, comparing it to Fury Road, and how like, oh, this movie's a failure because it's not doing as much as Fury Road. So here's the funny thing. Here's the funniest thing about all of this. Furiosa is actually the first Mad Max movie to hit #1 at the box office on its opening weekend. None of the other ones did. Furiosa did. Barely, but it did. Comparing to Mad Max Fury Road, yes, Fury Road did make more money in its opening weekend. It made 45 million opening weekend. However, it came in #2 to Pitch Perfect 2. So, that's funny. Fury Road also came out in 2015 in a completely different economic landscape. Because I saw data where it's like the key demographic for the movie, which is like the 18 to 24 or whatever demographic, for Fury Road was about 31%. Okay, and then for Furiosa, it dropped to 21%. And the entire industry is like, oh my god, why is the key demographic dropping so low? Is it because of the female lead? Is it because the movie's not good? Is it because no? It's because people can't afford the movie. People can't afford to go see the movie. That's why. It's like a whole 10-year difference. Like, it's a completely different world. But beyond all that, for all intents and purposes, Fury Road wasn't seen as a success. It was a completely niche film because the Mad Max franchise has always been a niche film franchise. It was a niche film franchise that, in total, grossed only $369 million. Like, it barely made a profit. Barely. And the only reason why people talk about it in such high praise is because it's arguably a masterpiece of a movie, but because it won so many awards during Oscar season, and it came out of nowhere doing that. And then people look back on it, and they're like, oh yeah, this movie's great. Furiosa's the same thing. It's doing the exact same. Like, in a sense, if you look at the actual, like, trending data for it, like, Fury Road never met expectations. It was always just consistently right in the middle of expectations. And currently right now, based on, like, at least the first week trends of Furiosa, it's doing the exact same, trending slightly higher than middle. It's doing the exact same. It's made $74 million worldwide so far. 74. And again, don't know the budget of this movie. I think the budget's like $150 million. But it's after the first weekend. And people are already calling it a failure, and supposedly Warner Brothers is calling it like a complete flop. Or like, they're not doing that at all. Don't trust any of that. They're not doing that. But people call this movie a flop. People call this movie a failure. People are saying, like, why do they do this with Anya Taylor-Joy? And they're blaming her. They're blaming, like, a bunch of other things. The movie's fine. Like, performance-wise, it's doing fine. Like, this isn't a failure. It's a whole situation with Hollywood in general and perception of the movie industry in general, where if a movie doesn't, and a lot of it's because of Marvel, and I will 100% that, a lot of it's because of Marvel and how all those movies kind of weirdly messed up the box office, okay? And I'll get to that a little bit more, I'll explain that in just a second. So, basically there's like this whole perception from the studios, and there's a whole capitalistic thing, and, screw capitalism and all that stuff. But there's like a whole capitalistic mind view of everyone, including the audiences as well, that if a movie doesn't make a certain, like an X amount of money and is opening like 3-4 days, then it's considered a failure. And that's not true. That is just simply put not the case and not true. But so many studios now are banking on having a massive opening weekend to then further make more movies, and that just shouldn't be the case, and that should never have happened. And again, a lot of it is because of Marvel, because for the longest time after the Marvel movies came out, and when they started coming out, their opening weekends were massive. They were like 50 million, 75 million, 100 million, 150 million opening weekends. Like, there were just some big weekends. And then of course Endgame came out, and it was like a $1 billion movie, basically, from the get-go kind of a thing. So those style of movies, those weekend movies, did a few things. And the first thing they did was they actually kind of helped the movie industry, because if a Marvel movie came out and the theaters were full, then they would just go to either a different showing, or they would go to a different movie, and that's fine. However, on the negative side, because of all those movies having such massive openings, it then caused all the studios to be like, hey, if our movie doesn't do that, our movie's not a success. And that's not true. That's just simply not true. And yes, there's a lot of different trending data and trends and out there. And of course, the economy in general and the cost of movies, I understand that. I've already mentioned that every time so far. That changes why people see movies and why they don't. And it's just frustrating seeing studios and seeing journalist outlets and seeing like media or whatever call certain movies failures when they're not. Especially in this case of Furiosa. Just for me personally, because I love this movie. I thought this movie was phenomenal. Absolutely, like, phenomenal. Anya Taylor-Joy kills it in this movie. She only has like 30 lines of dialogue, but she doesn't need a dialogue to fully show that she's acting. I love her in this role. Chris Hemsworth does so much in this movie, and it's amazing. It's always great to see Hemsworth just let loose and just be this actor that he is, and just go full bore, like, balls to the wall kind of like actor of just chaos. He is just pure chaos, and it's great. It's so awesome to see. And it's awesome to see it as well from George Miller, because Miller has a specific vision for these films, and he does that vision. He fully commits to it, and he does it. And he does it with practical effects, which makes things a little more expensive, but they pay off. They're so good. And yes, they didn't bring back Charlize Theron as Furiosa. And yes, she was a little sad about that, but she understands. Miller didn't want to use the de-aging technology because he thought it would have looked cheap. And I agree with him. I agree. It's okay to recast people in movies, people. It's okay. There's the thing with Star Wars, where Star Wars has some weird infatuation with not recasting people. It's like, it's okay, you can recast someone. It's okay. No one will care. That's a lie. People will care about Star Wars for some reason. I don't know why. I love Star Wars too, by the way. This is not me, like, bashing Star Wars. I love Star Wars. It's just a weird movie trend thing. But either way, beyond all that, Furiosa is great. And to not really get too much into the box office stuff, because that's what I'm going to talk about with other stuff going on. It's doing fine. Go see it in theaters, though, because it's still there. Go see it in theaters. It is a good movie. If you can go see it in theaters, obviously. If not, obviously don't. But if you can go see it in theaters and you have the time, go support this movie. Go support any... honestly, go support any movie. Any movie you want to go see. Go support it. Just go support your local theaters. And this is a transition into my next topic of just the theater chains in general. So I worked for 3 years at my local Regal Cinemas, okay? I love the movies. I've said this multiple times. That's kind of the whole point of this channel. That's why I'm doing Minty Minutes in general. That's why I'm doing this whole podcast thing. I love the movies. I love the theater. Like a lot of my most memorable experiences in life and some of my most memorable life-changing things are from the theater and from going to see movies. Like literally every year of my life for my birthday or around my birthday, I've gone to the movies and seen something. Usually because something comes out in July that I can go see. But I've gone to see movies. Like hell, I went to the theaters on opening weekend of The Wolverine. Like that movie's not that good, but I went opening weekend of The Wolverine because it came out on my birthday. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go see this. Like this year, I'm probably going to go see Deadpool and the Wolverine, ironically enough to mention Wolverine, because it comes out like 2 days before my birthday. Like, I'm probably going to go see that. And it's probably going to do well as well in the box office because it's the only Marvel movie this year. But beyond all that, like, I love the theater. And like I said, I worked there for 3 years. It was one of my favorite jobs I've had until it wasn't. As with most jobs, it just got annoying management stuff and company stuff and, you know, whatever. But it was fun. I loved working with the people I worked there with, and I loved being there and getting the free movies and everything. And yeah, I know free movies is a whole thing. But I just love doing it because it got me into this industry that I love so much. And it got me, like, closer into it, and I understand it a little bit better because of that. So there's a lot of talk, because of all the movies I talked about today, mainly Furiosa, of the theater industry dying, and the movie industry just, like, slowly dying, and we need to just, like, you know, ring the death knell for it. It's just done, like, you know, bury it. And that's not true either. That's also not true. It's, again, media being all doom and gloom to get clicks and stuff, but because of that kind of shaping public perception of everything as well. And the theater industry is not dying. Does it need to change? Yes. The actual theaters themselves need to change. Do studios need to change and rethink how they're distributing movies? Yes. Or how they're at least paying for movies? Yes. 100%. 100% that. But just to take a look at the top 15, I'll just do top 20. The top 20 movies of 2024 so far, and we're not even halfway through the year. We just got to June, which is halfway through the year. Okay, we're not really even halfway through the year. The top 20 movies of 2024 so far. The top 5. Okay, we have Dune Part 2 at number 1, making $282 million domestically, and I think it just left theaters. But worldwide, it's made $711 million. That's a success. Like, no matter what, that's a success. Okay? Warner Brothers, good on you, I guess. The second one, Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire. It made $195 million domestically, $368 internationally, $564 million worldwide in total. That's a success. That one just kept going because people did not believe in this movie at all. That one just kept going. It's goofy, silly fun. Talked about it before. It just did. Okay? It just did. The third highest grossing movie of the year so far is from Universal, and it's Kung Fu Panda 4. Kung Fu Panda 4, which I completely forgot it even came out for the most part, and I forgot they were even doing this movie. It made $542 million worldwide off of nothing. Nothing. I don't remember hearing anybody talk about this movie at all. And clearly people saw the movie. It made $193 million domestically. It almost made $200 million domestically in its run. And it made another $350 million worldwide, rounding up a little bit. And I didn't hear anyone talk about this movie. So, just looking at those three, and then let's just look at If as well, because If came out last week. If has so far made $112 million in its 2 weeks. Cool. It's honestly looking like it's doing the exact same as Furiosa is doing. People calling this a success? Failure? Nope. Not hearing anybody talk about this movie at all. Not at all. So, that's a weird one. But yeah, so like, movies this year are interesting. Also, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the 4th highest grossing movie of the year so far. Domestically, it has 133.59. Now, yeah, there are also some international movies probably that have made more than these, but I'm just looking at domestically for right now. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has made 133 domestically so far, 304 worldwide. That's a success. It's like, good. They did it. And then 5th highest is Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, a movie that everyone also called a flop when it came out because, like, no one saw it supposedly. It made $200 million worldwide, which I don't think is a profit for it. I don't think it is. Only made $87 million internationally. don't know if it actually opened fully internationally yet. Yeah, it hasn't even fully opened internationally yet in a lot of places. So there's still a lot of markets for Ghostbusters to open. Now, will it do well? I don't know. I don't think it really matters for the most part, but it's the 5th highest grossing movie of the year. Again, we're only in June. There's still the whole entire summer movie season to go, plus other things to go further. But the movie industry's not dying. It's not dying at all. It does need to change, like 100% needs to change, and they need to lower ticket prices, and that's coming from someone who worked in a theater. Ticket prices should not be like $15 for a matinee. Popcorn also should not be like $20 for a large. But I understand, like the concession prices, they have to be that way to actually pay for the theater, because ticket prices do not go to a theater. There's a percentage cut that goes to the theater, and the rest goes to the studios. I forgot what the percentage is. I think it's like 40-60 split, I think. Maybe 30-70. I think it depends on the studio as well. But there's a split there. So the concessions all go to theaters. That's how the theaters keep in business and keep running. And clearly they don't, because every one of them has filed bankruptcy so far, except for AMC, and that's the only reason why is because of the stupid stock thing for the pandemic. So thanks, stock bros, I guess. But the movie industry is not dying. But almost every, like, media source and journalistic outlet and you know, everything keeps saying that the theater's dying after every movie comes out and is under expectations. Maybe it's because the expectations are too high for all of these movies. Maybe it's not because of the movies. Maybe it's because of other factors, you know. Maybe it's not the movies. Maybe it's not the people in charge of the movies. Maybe it's not the people, like, in the movies. Maybe there's something else, okay? And that something else is the fact that people just can't afford it, and the theater industries and the theaters charge too much because they have to, and that studios are putting way too much pressure and way too many expectations on these movies to do something in the first 4 days when they don't market the movies at all anyway. Like, the marketing for Furiosa and the marketing for The Fall Guy, just to go back to those two specifically, are fine, but they're not good. It's like, you watch the trailer for Furiosa and it has like 14 million views, I think, so far, or whatever. But you watch the trailer for Furiosa, and you're watching a Mad Max movie. Like, you're getting a Mad Max movie. You're not really getting a story, but there's kind of hard to do a story in the trailer for that, other than just saying it's a movie about Furiosa. Yeah, that's it. That's all you're doing. That's all it is. It's a movie about Furiosa. Cool. For The Fall Guy did not at all present it as a rom-com when it should have, and it would have gotten a completely different audience for it. It presented it just as a straight-up action movie, which it is and isn't. Like, it's more than that. It's more of actually like an action comedy than anything else, with a lot of like heart and genuine romance in it. So like, the marketing for those movies weren't good, especially for The Fall Guy, which is a remake of a movie from a TV series from the 80s. No one knew about that. Like, there are so many people from like my generation who don't even know The Fall Guy existed. And the reason behind that is because you literally cannot find it anywhere. You cannot watch it. That show ran for 5 seasons. Season 3 being the largest season of the show, okay? It ran for 5 seasons. Do you know how many seasons of that show you can watch on any of the streaming services? Which is a reason why I hate streaming services at this point. 1. You can watch the first season on Amazon if you buy it. That's it. All the other seasons, you cannot get anywhere. Seasons 1 through 3 were released on DVD internationally in like the 80s. And that's it. Seasons 4 and 5 never touched DVD. They were never saved. Never written, like, never saved anywhere. You literally cannot see seasons 4 and 5 anymore unless you find some random, like, VHS tape in your attic and somebody recorded it. Why? Just why? Why is this the case? Why is it only season 1 available of this show? So that's the thing about streaming in general, why people are kind of getting angry with streaming, and industry getting angry with streaming as well. Like, what is the point of streaming at this point? Like, if you get a streaming service, like, let's just say HBO Max. If you get HBO Max, you are expected to be able to see all of the Warner Brothers content, right? But you can't, because like half it's on like Peacock. The other half's on, like, Paramount Plus for some reason. There's still, like, 25% of it on, like, Netflix for some reason. Other 25% on, like, Hulu. Why? Why is this the case? These are your movies. And I get it. It's because of licensing, and they're making money that way from it. But like, at least with Disney Plus, it's like, if I'm gonna, I saw this thread the other day about this, and it's like, Disney Plus has a lot of flack for it. I understand, it's Disney Plus, it deserves it. But the thing about Disney Plus is, like, when you go onto Disney Plus, you're gonna see Disney movies on there. Like, if you want to watch Aladdin from the 90s, you can watch Aladdin from the 90s. If you want to watch Fox and the Hound from, like, the 70s, go and watch Fox and the Hound. It's there. You know, if you want to see Wish, that just came out, like, last year, year before that or whatever, that's not that good, you can watch it. It's on there. Like, it has its stuff on there. Like, you can go watch your stuff. For the most part, they did remove some original content like Willow, which sucks. You just can't watch Willow. I even did a trailer reaction to Willow, like, a while ago, and never got around to watching it. Now I guess can. It's like sail the high seas for that. But, you know, at least Disney Plus has the stuff on there. But that's the thing about streaming, and to go back to the Fall Guy again, just talk about that, it's like, these streaming services that are specific for certain studios should have all the content of that studio on there. And they just don't. And it's weird, and it's confusing, and it's bad, and I don't like it. And also, streaming's just expensive as well. Streaming's just expensive as well, but I understand the point of it. It's like, it's convenience, and it sucks. It's convenience and it sucks because they just keep jacking up prices for no reason. But anyway, beyond that, I'm ranting now at this point about something that's not even important for this. But yeah, so the theater industry is not dying. The movie industry is not dying. It's just people are being way more selective about the things they go see, which is completely understandable, and I get it. I get it. So, like, looking at the upcoming movies, like, let's just look at movies coming out. Bad Boys Ride or Die comes out the 7th. It'll probably do okay. It'll probably do alright. It'll probably do in line with the other Bad Boys movies, I'd imagine. Maybe do a little bit more. June 14th, Inside Out 2. Don't know. Don't know. Honestly, do not know. Because of the fact that Disney spent the entire pandemic basically killing the Pixar brand. Who knows if Pixar's going to do well. It did well last year with Elemental because they just left it in the theaters. It didn't do well opening weekend, and it went on to be one of the highest grossing movies of last year because they just left it in the theater. So hopefully Inside Out 2 gets the same treatment, and hopefully people just go see it. Now it is a sequel to an already established brand or already established IP of Inside Out, so hopefully that also helps as well. I know I'm going to go see it because I love the first movie. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time. So I'm going to go see this for sure, but who knows? Like, honestly, who knows if it's going to do well or not? I think it's going to do well because it's Pixar, but again, don't know. Looking forward again, Quiet Place Day 1, maybe? Maybe? It's a horror movie. Horror movies have this weird thing about just doing well. You know why? Because they're cheap. So maybe. Also, Horizon, American Saga Chapter 1, the Kevin Costner big ass epic Western movie. I've not heard good things about it, but it's supposed to be it's supposed to be like a 6-part epic Western. I don't know, man. It might do good. It might not. I don't know. Like a 3-hour long Western. Who knows? But, you know, that one might do good. But yeah, Quiet Place, it'll probably be a rousing success because the horror movie made on like a budget of like nothing. Because that's just what it is. Then in July, Despicable Me 4, $1 billion movie. It's just going to be, because all Despicable Me movies do. Every Illumination movie has made over $100 million at the box office. Actually, I think everyone has made over $200 million at the box office. It's going to be a success. Illumination just sells. I don't like Illumination as a studio. I don't. But the thing about it is that they know how to make animated movies cheaply, or cheap enough, and then just market the hell out of them to the exact audience they need to market to, and people go and see them because they are a safe animated movie, right in the dead heart of summer. It's going to be $1 billion, or somewhere around there. Maxine, I'm excited for it. A24 film. It's going to probably do good enough because all the Ty West movies in that whole franchise have been good and have made enough money. That is a niche movie, though. So, not going to make a lot of money, but it's going to make enough because A24. I find it funny how July 12th is just an untitled New Line horror movie. It's like, hey, if they were going to actually release that thing, they would have had some type of marketing for that already. Anyway, I'm just going to go to the end of July. July 19th, Twisters. No idea. It's another random sequel that came out like 20 years after the first movie. It's a sequel to a movie from the 90s that was also niche. I don't know. I don't know, but it's got Katie O'Brien in it. I'm going to probably see it. It's weird. I don't know. It looks the exact same as the first movie because it's just a movie about twisters, about tornadoes, and it's a big action movie, so I don't know, maybe. And then Deadpool and Wolverine. Probably going to do really well. Probably, because it's the only, like, MCU Marvel movie this year because everything else got pushed and canceled or whatever. So, and it's also Deadpool and Wolverine. People have been waiting to see this team up forever. It's the next Deadpool movie. It's the first MCU Deadpool movie, and they're keeping it R, but it is also an R-rated movie. So who knows? I don't think the R rating is going to really matter. I really don't think it's going to matter for this movie because it's Deadpool. People are going to go like take their kids to see it anyway because it's Deadpool. Like, I don't think they care. This movie is going to be a success. One way or another, it's going to be a success. I don't know how much of a success it's going to be. And I don't know how the media outlets and the studios are going to look at it as a success, but I think it will be a success. I know pre-sale tickets have already been really good for it, but they've been really good for a lot of movies, and then those movies still are considered flops. So who knows? It happens every year of like people being like, "Oh man, we're so bad because this movie's selling like so well pre-sale wise." Like, yeah, and we're still having this conversation about the theater industry in general because it happens every single time. I'm gonna go to August as well. Borderlands comes out. I'm hyped for it. It's probably gonna not be that successful, but successful enough maybe. Alien Romulus, it'll probably be a success enough because horror movie and because Alien. Horizon American Saga Chapter 2. No idea, because no idea about the first one, but it comes out only a month later. The new Crow movie, maybe, probably not. And then that's about it, really. Oh, and in September we get Beetlejuice might do good, but again, niche property, but it is from Warner Brothers, so who knows. So, upcoming wise for movies, like, there are good movies coming out. There are some definitely good-looking movies coming out that'll probably make money. And that's the thing. It's just people having to be cautious about the movies they go see and having to actually, think about the movies they're going to go see instead of just going to see them all the time. Because people just need to budget, and that's the issue. And that's the thing studios don't understand. Studios don't understand the fact that people need to budget because of other shit going on. Like, of just other stuff. And it sucks because, unfortunately, the movies themselves are suffering from it. And the movies themselves are being seen as flops, being seen as, like, failures. And people aren't giving them the chance that they should be given because the media and the studios are saying that they're failures because they're not making enough money in the first, 4 days. And that sucks. It really sucks. And it's a big doom and gloom thing, I understand. But on a happy note, the theater industry is not dying. It's just changing and needs to change a little faster to accommodate for what's happening. And people need to start realizing, I say people, I mean studios, need to start realizing that if a movie doesn't make 150 million in its opening 5 days, that is not a failure. You just need to give it time and let people actually go see a movie they want to go see. Because history has shown audiences know the movies they like, and they go see movies they like, and they will make time and make money for it. Furiosa is a niche property. It was never supposed to win everything in the month it came out. And unfortunately, Memorial Day weekend, just a bad weekend for everyone involved. Everyone that came out Memorial Day weekend was not good. There was never a chance for any of those movies to make $100 million like usual for Memorial Day. It was never going to happen. They were all too niche. Kingdom of the Apes is a niche franchise that has a specific fan base. And that fan base loves the movie, and they go see it, and it makes enough money. The Fall Guy is a movie that should have gotten way better marketing, that should have been seen by way more people, and it just didn't. But it's available on video services now, so you can just watch it at home. So watch it. And, show these actors, show these people that make this art that you care, and that you love the art they make. And that's just the whole thing. And yeah, that's my whole rant about the movies. I've been spicy for the past couple of weeks, and if you follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram and I'm on Threads. Follow me on Threads for sure. I try to actually post there more often now. You'll see my takes every once in a while about all this stuff. So just go enjoy the movies you enjoy. Go watch the movies you watch and things. There's really nothing else I can really say about this here. Just watch the movies you can and enjoy them. And unapologetically enjoy them too. Just make sure you just are enjoying the things you enjoy, and that no one's telling you you can't enjoy those things, for sure. That's going to be it for me today. I was going to say I had a positive thing to talk about, but I'm not really. Not really, I just have that to talk about today. So, hope you all enjoy this definitely long Minty Minutes of me just going into box office numbers and such. And if you wanna have like good breakdowns of box office numbers, go follow Dan Murrell. He's a guy I've been following for a long time, ever since the Collider Schmodown, for like movie stuff. He's great, does movie reviews, and does a weekly box office breakdown of what's going on in movies, so definitely go watch him. I'm going to link to his channel down below. Go watch Dan Murrell. He's great if you're interested in box office numbers and that stuff, because it's something that I'm actually really interested in. I like seeing the business side of movies, which is, again, one of those strange things I'm just into, but I'm into it. So go follow him for sure. But if you like this video, or like this podcast, leave a like. It helps out in the algorithm. It gets more people to find the channel and find these videos and podcasts or whatever and everything. So go ahead and leave a like if you liked this discussion. And let me know down in the comments below. Let me know down in the comments, are there any movies that you're actually going to go see this year, that you're saving up to go see or you want to go see? Or what movies have you gone and seen this year so far in theaters that you have really enjoyed? Let me know down in the comments below. Love to hear it. Love to have a discussion about just movies in general, about just things that you like and things that you've seen. So let me know that down in the comments below. And if you are new to the channel and have not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe down below. It helps out as we're on the journey to 1,000 subscribers. We are actually making some pretty decent growth lately, which is great. I think my channel is finally being found in the algorithm. So thank you all so much. I do truly appreciate it. My nose is stuffy right now, so it might sound like I'm a little sarcastic, but I'm not. My nose is just stuffy. I do very much appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving lately, and it does truly mean a lot. Even if my schedule's been a little rough lately because of work and life in general, I do really appreciate you all sticking around and hanging out and watching these videos and listening to these podcasts and things. It does actually mean a lot to me. Like, truly means a lot. So if you're new here, go and subscribe down below. It will truly mean a lot, and you'll help out in the whole community. And if you want to see more on the screen, there's going to be some videos you can watch as well. There'll be a playlist and an actual video that YouTube recommends for you. And until next time, just stay loving the things you love. Go watch some movies. Go watch Fall Guy. Go watch Furiosa. And just enjoy the things you enjoy. And I'll see you next time. Till then, peace, everyone. Peace.